everyone! Today we're making this cute turtle with some embroidery details, and it's pretty easy to make. We don't need any extra materials. For this one, we're only going to need some felt. You can choose any color combination you like, and some thread of course, and some stuffing. I will also be using a disappearing ink pen, but if you don't have one, you can use a regular washable marker like a Crayola. So let's start cutting some felt. And you can ignore these notches for now. These are for when we attach the legs. And for the top of the shell, I included this little notch here, so it's easier to tell which sides we're going to stitch together. So for the legs, since we need 8 pieces, I find it easier to just cut out a strip of fabric. You can even use a ruler. So now that I marked them, I'm just going to cut like this. And now we can take our pattern and round off the corners. Here we go. 8 pieces in under 2 minutes. And I'm going to use the same cutting method for the scoots. I'm just gonna wet my finger a little bit, so it's easier to move the pattern piece. And now just go in and cut off the corners. So we're going to start with the top of the shell, and we are going to stitch this side where the notches are. And I'm going to start, so we're going to turn it inside out, and this part is going to be right here, and since it's pretty front and center, I don't want my knot to stick out. So I'm going to start a little bit away from this edge. Make a couple of stitches, so my knot is here. Make a couple of stitches towards the edge. And then come back and finish all the way down here. And I'm going to be using whip stitch since we're turning it inside out. It doesn't really matter. You can use blanket stitch as well. And once you've started stitching, you can cut off the notches. And same thing at the end. I'm going to stitch all the way to the edge and make a secure knot. And then I'm going to come back a couple of stitches, make another secure knot. And this way I'm not going to have this part visible at all when we turn it inside out. Nice and clean on both sides. And before attaching the scoots, stretch the sides a little bit and flatten out the seam with your fingers. And now let's attach the little scoots. I like to lay them out first, so I have a bit of a plan when I start attaching them. I'm going to attach the middle row first and then work on the sides next. So the shell is basically done. I just want to add these lines as a final touch. I think they make the turtle look more fun, and just because I love adding details. But you can totally skip this step. And now the shell is done, so let's work on the head. Since I'm using light colored felt, which tends to be see-through, I'm going to add a little insert, so the dark thread that I'll be using for the eyes is not showing through. So I'm just going to cut out a little piece so it fits into the head. Something like this. And I'll put it inside. And to mark the eyes, I'm going to follow this little guide here. I'm using my disappearing ink pen here, but if you're using a regular marker, find a color that's close to the shade of your felt color, so it's not as visible. Okay, so I'm going to use black thread, make sure you have the backing. And I'm going to use French knots to make the eyes. And if you're not familiar with them, I have a video how to make French knots, so check it out if you need some practice or you've never done them before. And here we have the eyes, and you can leave them as is, or I'm going to add little glasses and nostrils, just so it looks more fun. I'm doing one eye at a time, just because this pen tends to smudge off while you're working. That little insert that we put in might get in the way, so make sure you put the stuffing between the insert and the back side. And we don't need to fill it up too much, only need about halfway. Okay, now we can put together all the legs and the tail. Again, we only need to fill them up halfway. And I'm gonna leave the tail empty. Okay, I have all my elements ready, and this is the bottom of our shell. I added these markers so we know where to place the legs. And I'm gonna start with the head. And now we're gonna go around and attach all the legs and the tail. Make sure you don't tighten too much so the fabric doesn't fold. Okay, I have all the legs and head and the tail in place, so now we can attach the top shell. Okay, so I stitched all around here to this third leg, and now I'm going to stuff it partially. And what I like to do, we can just use stuffing, but since I have a bunch of scrap fabric, I can cut it even smaller. Instead of throwing all this away, I'm gonna mix my stuffing with the scraps and stuff it like this. I love to recycle whenever I can. And it doesn't work always. For instance, I wouldn't put the scraps into the legs. First of all, they're too small. And second, the pieces would show through here. But it works great with the shell. Make sure you push the stuffing into the edges so they don't stay empty. I think it's good for now. I might add some later when we're up to here. So I'm gonna continue stitching for now. So I have just a small opening left here. I'm gonna distribute the stuffing with my fingers and see if I need any more. I'm gonna add just a little bit more. And we're done. Use your fingers to distribute the stuffing and also push the belly in. So instead of lying on his belly, he's actually standing up. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know in the comments, is yours wearing glasses or not?